Welcome back again. In this lesson, we will talk about if statement. We have created a file for if condition. This is the fifth lesson. Let's open this file. Here it is. We will talk today about if statement. Python supports the usual logical condition from mathematics. For example, Python support condition like equal which have the form A equal B. To test if A equal B, you should type the condition in this form. A equal B, double equal. In condition, you should type double equal. And the second condition statement is not equal. If you want to test if a number not equal another number, you type A and shift 1 from keyboard equal B. If you want to test that number less than another number, you type by this way. Less than, type as you see, A less than B. And if A is greater than B, or E is greater than, you type like this: A is greater than B. And also, if you wanted to test if A is greater than or equal, you type this form: A greater than or equal B. And if you want to type if A is less than or equal B, you type this condition by that way: less or equal, and here is less. These are the most famous condition used with if. Okay, let's see how you can create an if statement. Create if condition of the form of if condition. If you wanted to type a form of if condition, it's type like that: for plus one of the above conditions and this sign, press enter. Here you type the condition you want. Here you type the code you want to execute if the condition is achieved. The code executed if the condition is achieved, like this. Let's see an example. And this condition is empty, so let's type here bus, and we will talk about pass the next 5 minutes. The example of 4, let's type this example. 4, the example of if. I'm sorry, this is if condition, not 4. Okay. If or A equal 33 and B equal 200. If B is bigger than A, print this message. B is bigger than A. Okay. Let's test this condition. You will notice that the message we type here is printed. Let's explain the condition. In this example, we used two variables, A and B, which are used as a part of the if statement to test whether B is greater than A, and as A is 33 and B is 200, we know that the 200 is greater than the 33, and so we print it to the screen that B is greater than A. So if statement is used to test between two values and with one of the above relation or one of the above condition. If the condition is achieved, the code under if will execute it. And if the condition is not achieved or is not true, the code will not execute it. For example, if we changes this value and we wanted to test if A is bigger than B. We know that B is bigger than A, but we wanted to try the reverse. Let's see. You will notice that this statement print is not executed. Why? Because this condition is false. A is not bigger than B, so the code under if not executed. Okay. Here also we have something used with if called else. Or let's take elif first. There is a code or something used with if. It is some of the complete form for if. If is not write always by this way. You can write if by another way. Some of the other ways is elif. How you can do this? The form when you use elif is if and condition 1. Let's type like this. Condition 1. Is it true? The form is right like this. Let's remove this. If condition 1 is it true, execute code 1. Code 1 will executed. There's elif, and you will understand it. Elif, another condition, difference from the above, and code 2 will executed. Let's see how this works. In this form, you will notice if the condition 1 is achieved, this code under if will execute it. And if this condition is not achieved, Python will try the elif is achieved or not. So if this condition is not achieved, the editor of Python will transfer to the next condition and try. If condition 2 is achieved, the code under condition elif will also execute. But if those two conditions not achieved, the editor will not do any process. Let's take an example. But we wanted to make this multi-line comment first. Okay. Here is the example. Like you see before, we have a two number. A is equal 33 and B is equal also 33. And we wanted to test if B is bigger than A, print B is bigger than A. Here is elif. If we want to test another condition in the same if statement, we use elif. If elif A is less than B, print that A is less than B. And also you can do another elif. If A is equal B, so print that A is equal to B. You can repeat this elif multi-time, it doesn't matter. So here is if condition to test if B greater than A. If this condition is true and B is already bigger than A, this statement this code will print it and execute. If this code, the first condition, don't achieve, Python will go to the next condition and test. If A is less than B, this code will print it. And if this code is not also true, and Python go to the next line and see elif, so we'll test also this condition and see A is equal B, so it will, this condition is true, so it will print this line. Let's see. Here you will notice that A is equal to B, and this is true because this condition, because this statement is under this condition which is true. Let's try again. Okay, here is the condition. There is also another word or another word to complete the whole form or the main form of if. There is something used also with if called else. And else, by the way, is used to execute code if any of the conditions is not true. Let's see what does it mean. The form of else is if condition and the sign execute code. Code will execute. Else is not followed by condition. It is else and the double to point. Then another code will execute. What does it mean? This means that if this condition is true and achieve, this code will execute. But if this condition is not true, the else code will execute. So the else code is executed if any of if and elif conditions not true. Let's type elif also. So if the condition of if not achieve and the condition of elif also is false and not achieve, so the else code will execute. So else code is executed if any of if and elif conditions is not true, by which mean if all the above conditions is not true, the else code will execute it. So Python test the conditions before else. If all this condition is not true, the else code will execute. Let's make this as a multi-line command and see an example. For example, we have this. Let's see. We have this example. I'm sorry, is this? Okay, it will print it. So sorry. Here is the example. We have A equal to 100 and B equals to 3. Python will test if B is greater than A, it will print that B is greater than A. But if this condition, let's type elif B is less than, no, let's test equal. If B is equal A, print that B is equal A. We will test if B is greater than A, and this is false, not true. So this code will not execute it, and Python will see elif here. So it will test if B equal A, and this is not true also. So Python will go to else and execute the code whatever it was. Okay. Here is also we have a two keyword used with the condition of if. Let's see what those are. We have an and or, and they called logical operators. Logical operators. How to use those words? And is used to sum two conditions with each other in the same if statement. So let's type and used to combine two conditional statement. So if we wanna, for example, let's see, and if we want to test if B is greater than A and B is equal A, in the same condition we used and to sum those conditions together. Like this, if we want to test that A is greater or the A is less than B and B is equal A, we will print that A is a greater and equal B. Let's see the result. Wait a second. Okay. What does it mean? Okay. We have here. So this code will execute if A is less than B and B is equal A, and this is can't be true. Why? Because there is no two number can be equal and different in the same condition. Okay, let's execute this code. This is from the first operation. Let's see where it is condition. Okay, it's coming from here. Let's also cancel this by multi-line comment, so we will not see the result of this, and we wanted to focus on the result of this if. Let's execute. There is no something printed. Why? Because A is less than B, and this is A. This is not a true. So and will not execute the code. So and used to combine two conditions, and if one of these conditions is not true, the and statement, the and code will not execute. But or, if we have here or and use those conditions, let's do and print here. Okay, and let's execute to see the result. I'm sorry, this is or. Or also not executed. Why? Because this condition is not true. The two condition is false. But if we reverse this to bigger, we will notice the difference. Okay, this print statement is achieved. Why? Because or executes the code if one of these conditions is true. If one is true, the code will execute it. But and not executed if one is false. Which means if the two condition is true, the AND code will execute. If one of the condition is true, if you have OR and one of the condition is true, the code will execute it. Okay. There is also something called nested if. What nested if mean? Nested if mean you use an if statement inside another if statement. So if condition inside another if. How this can be happen? Let's see. Let's also cancel this to focus in the next. Okay. And see this and see. For example, we have an x equal 41 and we wanted to test if x is greater than 10. Okay. So if x is greater than 10, print x is above 10. So this code will not execute it except x is greater than 10. If we wanted to test that when f is greater than 10, we wanted to test if x is greater than 20 or less than 20. So we have this condition that approve that x is greater than 10. This condition will be true if x is greater than 10. So we have a number is bigger than 10. And we want also to test if this number is greater than 20. So print that x is greater than 20. But if else, or let's use else directly. Else x is not greater than 20, print that x is not greater than 20. So if this code is achieved, it will execute. If this condition is achieved, it will execute the code above and print x is above 10 and then test if x is greater than 20 will execute this, and if x is not greater than 20 it will execute this. But if else, so if x is less than 10, it will print that x is less than 10. So if else is greater than 10, it will execute this code and will test in this test. But if else is less than 10, it will execute this condition, so this code will not execute it, and it will not test from the first that x is bigger than 20, because this code is not true, and it will not go to the code inside this statement. Let's execute. Here we have that x is bigger than 10, so it print this statement, and also test if x is bigger than 20, and this is true that x is bigger than 20, so it will print that x is bigger than 20. But if you have, for example, 3, let's see, it directly print that x is less than 10, because it tests this x and find that it is not true, so it will not execute the code inside, the whole code inside, and go to the else if and test x is less than 10. Yes, this is true. Okay, this will execute the code of elif because it is true. The next we have something called pass statement. Pass statement, because let's see how it works. Because if condition can't be empty, you can't let else or elif empty. For example, if we remove this, you will notice that an error is warned here. You will notice that this red sign which tell you undidn't expected, which mean there is an error because this red sign, and also this red tell you there is one error. If we return and put this code, you will notice that this error disappear. So if or elif and also if do the same thing. There is an error. So if or elif or else can't be empty. But if you, for example, have an if statement with no content, put the password to avoid getting an error. So if you have an if, like this, A is bigger than B, and you don't to write a code now inside this if until you complete the whole code of the program. So you type this pass that will reserve this place for the future code. For example, we have this. I'm sorry, we have this. Let's do an multi-line comment to disappear the above. Also, when you try or training in this code, just eliminate these three single quotes in the end, in the beginning, and in the end to make the code run. Okay, we have an A equals 33 and have B equal 2010. I want now to put this if statement to remind me that here is a test. If you have a code that is 300 line, and of course you will not remember that there is an if statement, so you put here an if statement, but you don't want to put the code, or you don't want or you don't know the code. We'll put here until you see the remain of the program. So you put here a pass to reserve a place and not get an error. If we leave pass, there is an error. If you put pass, okay, there is no error and you can complete the code and return to this if statement after to complete it. By that, we notice that we go to the last of the lesson. and we finish the lesson. See